Valley Club, there's a new promo floating around the Marvel Strike Force community. We're revealing it in this video. We got all the new details about the Danger Room as well, and there's more milestones with more free intel. We're discussing all of these topics and more in this edition of your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update. Joining me this week, all the way from the Danger Room, is my brother DorkyDad, and if you're ready for all of it, brother Dorky, let him know what to do.
Let's go smash it.
Oh yeah, and welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel. I am ValleyFlyin, this is DorkyDad, and this is your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update. Do this video every single week, keeping you updated on everything that has happened and is upcoming in Marvel Strike Force. And if you do get some value from this video, leave it a like, hit the subscribe button for more Marvel Strike Force content, and ring the notification bell so you know as soon as a brand new video goes up. But there has been a lot of news since the last time we talked about the Dorky. How are you enjoying Marvel Strike Force, and how excited are you for the things that are upcoming in Marvel Strike Force that was just announced this week?
It's a bad time to ask, because we're about to have the Ultimate 16 tournament, which has the raid room in it, which in and of itself is always anxiety ridden. And then like everyone in my Ultimate 16 bracket has Professor X, and I don't.
Oh,
so I'm like, yeah, I'm 4 days of just getting my butt whooped ahead of me. So it's like, but there's other cool stuff coming. We're gonna be talking about that.
There's a lot of cool stuff coming. There's a lot of cool stuff coming. I don't know how it is right now in the game, but there's a lot of cool stuff upcoming in the game. Yeah. We'll talk about all that. All right, but first, in case you guys have not seen the code of the week, it is for 20,000, I almost said million, 20,000 intel credits, 2 million gold. This is gonna expire on 5/20, so May 20th is gonna expire. Enter community intel drop. You get all that stuff. I like these. Every week, it seems like we're getting a new code. Do you enjoy these codes, Dorky?
Yeah, and I think that's the right cadence. I think 1 or 2 codes every single week. It keeps it kind of fresh, keeps it fun. I like that.
And it's not always the same time. It drops on weird times. So I like that it's unexpected. And as a content creator, I love talking about these videos because people always want to see promo codes. So I think that's always great. But let's move on to the big topic of the week. That's why you're in the Danger Room. It is a Danger Room that is upcoming. All right, first time you heard about this was, I think it was before the trip that they announced the roguelike game mode. I don't know. When you first, I'm not sure the timing, but when you first heard about this, what was your thoughts on this and how this would work?
Yeah, so now I remember now. The first time we heard about our Strike Force, it was in a strike spot before our trip to LA from Ryan, our manager, and he just said the word out of nowhere. We're all like, what?
Good memory. I didn't remember that. It's good memory.
Yeah, and then went to LA, and the guys who were working on it, Max, and I'm not sure if his coworker wants his name out there, so I'm not going to say this.
It was in the video. It was in the 6-year anniversary video. He was in there. His name was in there, Jose. Okay. So he was in there, yeah.
Okay, so those two guys kind of showcased to us their idea for this roguelike, this Danger Room, and they built this skeletal structure for us to try it out on. And that was kind of the first experience we had with it. We got a more polished look at it like a week ago, or maybe less than a week ago. And then we all saw the strike spot. So that's kind of been the experience with the Danger Room so far. And I gotta say, just like hype check, like it's pretty fun. It's pretty good.
I had a lot of fun with it. I know we both of us were playing at the same time on there, and both of us were like, and I wish they could have showed some more of that footage of us reacting to it, but I guess they wanted to keep all the background stuff that was going on the screen out there. So let me just give a brief rundown of the Danger Room. It is a roguelike game mode, which is kind of a game mode that resets all the time. Your decisions will lead to a different path every single time. It's not the same experience all the time, which is a breath of fresh air for Marvel Strike Force. We've needed this for a while. So as far as what you get is you're getting 10 difficulties, and obviously the higher difficulty, you're getting more rewards. You're getting these danger tokens during your run, and you could exchange them for combat modifiers, and they're gonna carry over between runs, but not between Danger Room events. So you could use these tokens to get your characters more powerful and eventually help to increase your score. So because I don't know if you did multiple runs, but I only did one run on when we were doing the live event in LA, and then I only had time to do one on the test server, so I didn't get to experience any of these danger tokens. What are your thoughts on this, and did you get to use these tokens for subsequent ones on the playtest server?
Yeah, so I did about 3 hours of testing for the Danger Room. Okay. And the Danger tokens, essentially, you only earn them, at least on the playtest, when you do the elite missions. and you get 10, I think it was, or maybe it was more depending on the difficulty. I think it was 1 if it was difficulty 1 and 10 if it was difficulty 10. And basically what I did is I would go into a run, I would spam until I got as many of the elite missions as I could, gather those danger tokens, and then like for my final run, I was able to equip a bunch of these like beneficial packs. So I had raid rules turned on, I had 50% increased damage, I had an additional 10% and additional 30%. So my characters were basically hitting for 200% damage, and I had the raid rules on, and I was just like, I went in with Victoria Hand and Songbird to start, because you only get to start with 2. And by the time I had the whole Thunderbolt team, I was one-shotting the enemy. Now, I did have 1 diamond Thunderbolt characters on the playtest. So, I mean, we won't have that in reality, but it goes to show that if you play the mode enough and you hunt out to increase those danger tokens, you can get a 3-star team, but double their damage, activate their raid rules, and you get definitely clear difficulty 10 here.
So would you say the best strategy, like if you want all the rewards, because I think they said a lot of the major rewards, the major resources we want are going to be tied behind the final boss. And then if you wanted to get the perfect score, there's going to be cosmetic rewards and things like that. So if you wanted to get the highest score, would you say strategy is kind of what you did? Go in, look for those elite missions, collect these tokens, and then on one final run, your best run to try to get all the, whatever the cosmetic rewards are going to be, you use all these tokens on it to get everything really, really strong and just smash it, get the highest score possible. Is that the most efficient way that you found, at least so far, to get the highest score?
Yeah, definitely. It is a little cheesy, right? Because I'm just going in, I'm just hunting for these things and then get done. But
quit out.
Definitely,
you want to quit out again.
Yeah, it was definitely the most efficient though, and I still had a lot of fun doing it. I will say it started, maybe the type of game mode is just not for me. By about the 2-hour mark, it started to wear on me a little bit, to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to start hunting now to see if I can get the 5 Thunderbolts characters now that I have the raid rules turned on and the little bit of damage. Because I could have went even harder with it, and I could have kept going and activated even more benefits, like 10% speed set and all this other kind of stuff. But by the 2-hour mark, I was kind of done with it. I was like, all right, let me do my max run, and away we go. But yeah, you get the majority of your points when you beat the final boss. You have to beat the final boss. For perspective's sake, difficulty 10, for the first 15 nodes, I think I got like 1,100 points. Okay. And then for the boss node, 100,000 points. So it's kind of like, yeah. So it's like you beat the boss to activate whatever sort of difficulty reward you're supposed to be achieving.
And I guess just for efficiency, before you go collecting these tokens, I guess you just go do one run, beat the boss, and then after that, you go to try to be efficient because, you know, maybe you run out of time, maybe you're trying to go efficient and you don't get time to do that final run. At least you're not missing out on some of the major rewards there.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, you assemble your Danger Room squad. So it starts off, you choose 2 characters from your own roster, obviously, because it's been playtesting on the playtest server, and then that test, we didn't have these characters from our own roster. How much of a difference do you think that's going to make? Because we've only played with test characters before. So how much of a difference do you think this is going to make when you actually have your own roster? And will this incentivize you personally to start to build up characters because of this game mode? Or you're going to build up for other game modes anyway, and this is just kind of a bonus for you?
Yeah, so the latter for sure. I mean, I'm at a point in the game where if you've been playing the game for about a year, you should really only be focusing on the newest team with your resource. And if you do that, you can max out every team by levels and by up to gear tier 19, obviously not gear tier 20. And if you do that, I think you're going to be fine here. It's kind of like the current negative zone, which I know a lot of people don't like because there's a lot of resets and it gets kind of yucky like that. Yeah. I would equate it to that in the sense that if you have 3-star new characters and you put enough time into this mode, and you earn those danger tokens, you will 100% be able to do the hardest difficulty here. And then your rework characters, like your Taskmaster, your Ghost, they could have 3 diamonds if you are, again, if you're like at that end game, and then you're going to be able to do the highest difficulty there. And if not, there's difficulties 1 through 10 that you can choose from to kind of enjoy it at your level of roster level, right? So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think people are going to enjoy it quite a bit.
All right, one thing I really liked from a previous game we played, the DC Worlds Collide, was being able to use characters, like use them full characters, not just like test characters in like a showcase event, but full characters that weren't on your roster. We have that, we're gonna have that in this with rental tokens. Did you rent any characters during any of your playtests? I've played it twice, so I didn't rent any characters there anytime. So did you rent any characters, and how much of a difference, how much of benefit do you think that's gonna make for players when they're actually having to use their own roster and like, oh, I want to use this one, but I don't have that character in my roster right now, but that is gonna give me the most powerful. That's going to give me the highest score. So I need that character. How much of a difference does you guys make, or do you think people are just going to be like, I just want to get the boss and I'm done?
I mean, there'll be people that don't care about leaderboards whatsoever. They just want to get the boss and get out, right?
Yeah.
To get that milestone reward. I don't think the rental character program, from what we saw on the playtest or what they showed in that strike spot, is where it's going to have to be for people to enjoy what you were saying. Like, oh, I need this character because they're really good and I'm going to get to play with them. The game that you're talking about, DC Worlds Collide, when you rented a character, they were at the max build. Like they were at the max build, like all your other characters.
Yeah, that's not the case with this one.
No, so if you looked at the playtest or on that video, they were like gear tier 12 for Red Star. So like the rental characters, I think they're only going to be. Is
the power levels going to be based on the difficulty in your own roster and where the majority of your roster is, or is it always going to be at that gear tier 12 though, and that like it was in the video?
I don't know. All right.
I guess there's a lot of questions we'll answer when it goes into the live game, right?
Yeah. For what I'll say on the play test for the rental system, I want to say they might have been 7 red stars, but it was teal gear, it wasn't crimson gear. So again, like I would so rather have a 3 red star Songbird with gear tier 19 level 105 than a level 107 red star gear tier 16 Songbird, right? Like the star levels are super impactful for sure, but those other progression paths actually kind of eclipse star levels at this point, which I think is why diamonds were introduced in the first place. So I wouldn't start singing the praises of that rental system yet until we know the full scope. Like you said, like, is the difficulty going to determine what sort of character you can get? And they should probably experiment with like a super rental, because you only get 5 rentals per day. They don't refresh from run to run. So maybe if I use 1 rental token, it gets me a gear 12 character. Maybe if I use all 5 rental tokens on one single character, they become like a super character.
You better have a good score on that run then, or it's done, right?
Exactly.
All right, these different nodes, all of these look good, I guess, and it's going to come on May 22nd. I guess the big question is, how long do you think it's going to take for them to introduce overpower to this mode? Or is this like sacred? They're not going to introduce overpowered because this is like the fun mode for people.
I mean, they could absolutely introduce overpower to this, because the rules that we have with those danger tokens, they're so impactful. So if you play it enough, like you're going to get your characters to this like ungodly level of power, and it won't matter.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you are getting some pretty big mods. Like, good point on that. I didn't even think of that. Yeah. So it may not make a difference.
Yeah.
All right. Exactly. I'm looking forward to the date. It looks like it's less than 2 weeks away. How excited are this for you? Because I think when we first heard about it, they were talking about mid-April. I'm like, oh, that is so close. That was like their optimistic thing. But yeah, now we got a final date, May 22nd. How much are you gonna play this? Like as a player playing this offline, and as a content creator, because as a content creator, I think I'm gonna play this a lot on stream. I don't know how much I'm gonna play this offline. I think I'm gonna play it some offline, but on stream, I'm super looking forward to this.
Well, brother, first, I got to say, I get the dad clock in you, because this is only a week away. This is not 2 weeks away. This is 7 days from now. The dad clock is real.
It's the 15th. We're recording this on the 15th. My goodness. What is my thing? I think I even put 2 weeks in my title. I got to go change that. It's a week away. You're right. Yeah. All right. Week, even better. It's a week away.
Yeah.
How hyped are you for this?
I'm very, very excited. I probably expect to do the exact sort of time into it that I did when I play tested it. I think it's probably going to be maybe 30 minutes to get the maxed out
offline. You're playing this offline?
No.
I think I could play this a lot online.
Yeah, definitely streaming. I'll play this a lot. I think if I wasn't a streamer, I would play this for 30 minutes to an hour, and that would be enough time to get the danger tokens I need to get to the max difficulty, to collect all those milestone rewards, and then depending on the cosmetic item that's going to be in the leaderboards, maybe I'll throw another 2 hours into it to grind out those danger tokens to then do like a super run. But I think for me personally, this will probably be like a 2 hour thing on stream once a month, which is pretty cool. Like that's kind of like a Sword Satellite or a Kiln or something like that. And if they start rotating those in like a sequence, I think like the game could have a really, really fun PvE going forward. As long as they're doing new things, right?
Right. You mentioned one of the things that I was most disappointed about, doing this once a month. I thought this was going to be something that's going on all the time. The way it was described in there, they didn't exactly say it would be like that, but the way it was described, I had the feeling it would be there all the time. That's probably the most disappointing, that it's going to be here once a month. What are your thoughts on the timing of that? Because maybe every week they add like 2 days of this or something. What would you want for the timing?
I think if this was a permanent game mode, I think I'm a very jaded person, and I played it for hardcore for 3 hours, right? If this was a permanent thing and people were trying to grind out that leaderboard score for like an entire month before it gets paid out, I think the mode would burn a lot of people out and people wouldn't enjoy it as much.
Oh, you're talking about payouts on a monthly basis. I'm talking about payouts maybe on a weekly basis, or
yeah, even then, I don't think people would want to do this every single. Yeah, I think once a month is actually, like, once a month with a 7-day duration on it, I think is actually going to be a really healthy thing for this type of a game mode.
All right, well, we'll see. And they could always change it. If people want it more, they could change it. If they want it less, they could change stuff like that. So that's something that could change as well. All right, let's go into what I personally had the most fun with this week. Where are you? I gotta turn your camera on. There you are. Okay. I had a lot of fun in this negative zone Harbinger. Unfortunately, kind of like the last fun thing that was here, unless you had like a vigilante team that was built up pretty much, you're not playing this. What was your thoughts on this? And what do you think of this content that they're introducing, this PvE content that you kind of have to pay to play?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. And I'm going to start pushing back really heavily on that. I think there's been some content creators giving terrible advice on resource management. There is actually zero excuse that if you are a mid-game player who's been playing and you're level 105 commander level. So let's start there. If you're a level 105 commander level, you've obviously been playing since Vigilante's been out. If you haven't built your Vigilante team up, they are so amazing ever in the game. I don't know what to tell you, because the 3-star Vigilante team at level 105 with gear tier 19 and the proper D4s 100% gets through this mode. I've now done it 3 times. There is moments where you have to reset for RNG. Here's the thing, and it happened to me today. My first 2 runs, I soared through it. It took me like 15 minutes and 20 minutes to get it done. My 3rd run on the first node, I got distracted because somebody called me. I didn't realize it was still playing. I died, and then I was spawning into a super scroll, and I actually had to heal 3 times to clean that up. Even though I have the Vigilante team the size I was talking about with some gear tier 20 characters. You have to be careful when you're playing this. This mode does take skill, and it feels like the nodes are meant for you to try in one shot. You want to make sure that you have your Silver Sable with her ultimate ready, and she's nearing her turn before the next wave drops in. Because otherwise that next wave drops in, and there's like a super scroll on it, the speed bar, and it gets out of control. So I get it. This is actually challenging content. This is not impossible.
I love it. I don't know if everybody else does, but this is awesome.
Yeah, to me, I'm kind of sick and tired of it. And people can give me all the flag in the world. It's fine. This is not paywalled content. Fallen Dimension, the argument for paywalled content is not even an argument. It's just true, right? Because Silver Sable didn't have a release yet. Hitmonkey didn't have a release yet. Hitmonkey's release, you could have got him unlocked the first day, the second day if you didn't have Armory 20 Orb ready to go. Okay, Silver Sable has had 2 events before this mode. Daredevil had 2 events. You could easily have both of those characters at 4 stars, Hitmonkey at 3 stars. If you're not having your resources ready for when raid teams drop, and then you're going to complain about something like this, nobody can help you. That's the resource management part of the game. Build up your freaking raid teams. Build up your good teams that are good in all the modes, and you will have fun in a mode like this, like everybody else. I'm sorry, I'll be the bad guy.
So my question is, because I did buy the Vigilantes, I'm like, this is a raid team. I'm gonna buy this team. You're saying you can get them as a free-to-play player built up enough to beat this if you're managing your resources.
You could spend $0 on both resources and the Vigilante characters and 100% beat this mode in one shot in all the nodes.
All right, then I take this back. This is great. This is not paywall content. The Fallen Dimension, yes, you did need the Vigilantes, and they weren't out enough in time for that. This one, if you could get them free to play and get them geared up free to play, this is great content. They should do more stuff like this. I did this. 3 of my Vigilantes are geared tier 20. Elektra's not, Hitmonkey's not, but the rest of the 3 are. And I was able to do this. It is fun.
I've coached multiple people who have 0 gear tier 20 characters through this.
So it's possible. It's possible. It just takes more RNG and more intricate gameplay.
Yes, it is difficult content. There is things that you need to know going into it. You could get yourself into a horrible position. Yes, all that is true. But to say that this is impossible is a flat out lie. But don't agree with me because I'm going to get so much flack for that. Let me be the bad guy on that one. Just don't agree with me on that one. You tell me I'm stupid.
If I thought that you couldn't get these characters built up in time, which is why I didn't agree with you. But now that you're saying that you can, unfortunately, Dork, I want to have some debate, but I think I agree with you on this one as well.
All right. Well, let's move on.
I'm sorry. I want to disagree with that. I want to have some debate. Now, the other thing I want to make note, normally, if you look at first run rewards, time rewards, it would suggest you can only get rewards for 2 clears. You can get rewards for 3 clears. The devs did confirm that, and it is intentional. I'm also hearing you could get rewards for 4 clears. Have you tried 4 clears? Do you know if there's rewards after 4 clears?
No, I've only done 3. So there is no completion rewards after the second. Yes. So it's node rewards you're talking. Yes, it's node rewards. So you can get those 15 L4s times 8 every single day if you beat it with it, because it's only a 20-hour cooldown, right? So if you are like super diligent, you could beat this once every day, get your 20-hour cooldown, and collect 15 times 8 L4s. Is that worth it? It depends on on the size of your vigilante at that point, if this is something you're interested in.
All right. So yeah, I like that though. You get big rewards for doing it twice, and if you want to do it 3 or more times, you could get these additional rewards. Not a lot of stuff, but if you have the time, you can get more stuff. I like a lot of stuff about this. I don't have a lot of complaints about this right now.
There's so many people have always been, not me, because I'm too lazy, but there's a lot of people who ask, like, why can't there be a method for try-hard players to grind for just a little bit extra rewards? This is it, man. This is an additional, 120 L4s for you to spend. Maybe it takes you an hour to grind this out every single day, but you're getting 120. It's not game-breaking, but it's something the tryhards could use to get a small step ahead of other people. That's all I'm going to say about it.
And sometimes I'm a tryhard. Sometimes I'm like super casual. Right now I'm pretty casual, but this is great because you get the options. I'm going to do 2 runs, and I don't know if I'm going to do a 3rd and beyond for this stuff, but I'm definitely going to do 2 runs so I get some good stuff, and then tryhards can get more stuff as well. And because you could have got the vigilantes for free, my thoughts on this are totally changed. This is great. Great stuff here. Keep doing more stuff like this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Next thing. The Cosmic Crucible, the thing that you're not looking forward to. Cosmic Crucible 16.
Yeah.
Facing a lot of Professor X's. Let's talk about the global rules. Because they're very similar to what's happening next week for the next season of Cosmic Crucible. All characters on offense, defense, gaining more damage. Is there no global rules here? Maybe just in season 1. Maybe I'm getting confused. Maybe there's no global rules.
No global rules for the Ultimate 16.
Okay, so the one with the Harbinger and stuff for the normal season. All right, but what we have for this, I think this is also in room 1 when the normal season begins. On offense, defense, 4 fire and healer characters on hit, 1 vulnerable up to maximum 20. Striker, 3 vulnerables up to maximum 20. Everyone else, so raiders and skirmishers, 2 vulnerables up to a maximum of 20. And all characters when attacking gain 100% damage per vulnerable on the attacking character. At the end of turn, clear all vulnerable on this character. So what thoughts do you have on this room? And I'll show you what I put on defense for this room. What are your thoughts on this, and what did you use?
So yeah, we've had this room before, and it was mostly a nothing room. Like, there's obviously, if you just had one misstep, and I have something kind of similar to what you have. If you do one misstep and somebody gets to pop off on you, it could be very, very damaging, and that could be bad for you. I'm not sure if Thanos Endgame passive actually gets his damage amplified by the vulnerables. I'm not sure if passive things happen because it says on attacking. But yeah, I have a very similar room to you. I don't think this is a room you're going to build too much into unless you're actually trying to avoid the other rules. Like, if you're trying to avoid putting a defensive team that could get beat by raid teams, you wouldn't put that in stage 2. It's the same thing with stage 3 on the permanent damage side.
All right, next room, the raid room, your favorite room. At least they lower the resistance and healing, but I don't know. Spider Society, Vigilante. We're not going to have a full Thunderbolts. What are you thinking for this? Are you saving Vigilantes for offense? Are you putting them on defense to give a hard defense? What do you got here? Orcus, Night Stalkers.
Yeah, no. So I went through all the new raid teams. So the uncanny Avengers, that Spotlight team, the Night Stalkers, the Orcus, the Vigilante, like you said, Thunderbolts aren't out. And the first thing I do is I go to the passes and I say, okay, what's going on with the speed here? How do I go with the turn order? And then I think, okay, what can I do for buffs here, and how can I get around buffs? And all of the new teams, including Vigilante, seem to have these glaring weaknesses. Like Vigilante, for instance, they really rely on their buffs. They rely on their speed bar on spawn. They rely on hitting you, and they rely on the pre-taunt from Daredevil. Uncanny Avengers, or even just Immortal X-Men, come in. They say no pre-taunt for you. Storm immediately flips all their buffs. They don't gain any speed bar. So I don't think Vigilante is good in here at all, because people have really big Spotlight teams or really big Immortal X-Men.
Okay.
And it, like you, it came down to Spider Society, where I was like, hold on. Spider Society have speed bar. They have speed up on spawn. They have safeguard on spawn. They have a quick reapplication of safeguard. Like, this is still the mega team. Now we know how to beat this team already. Nobody should invest in this team to become overpowered 10, let alone overpowered 11, right?
What about Pav? I got my Pav already there. I was placing my defense on other teams. That's not happening anymore. But
yeah,
is Pav still a thing?
Pav is still good to invest into level 105, yeah, but the rest no.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is what you're using as well as far as raid.
Yeah, I took out Pav because I want him for the offensive side to counter other teams that have speed up. I put Black Cat in over Pav.
Gotcha. And last room, the rules are offense, defense, damage that reduces max health card by the same amount. So kind of like Null's kit, increase max health damage by 50%. Mm-hmm. I got some Illuminati, Mephisto, Black Knight here. What are you thinking on this room?
Same thing, but I have Odin instead of Mephisto.
Hmm.
Because, I mean, Mephisto already does the permanent life damage anyway, right? So he's actually not benefiting from the room. But also,
True.
I just found that Odin is a little bit more imposing than Mephisto. So Null is in play now. If someone has Null on the offensive side, they come in and do that to your room with like an Odin Phoenix Force or even Starjammers. That Starjammers could come in here and they would all go before your Mephisto, right? Which is concerning. Yeah, I just don't think Mephisto has that same power. If Phoenix Force would actually stop all the trauma and all the safeguard, the Mephisto
should I switch it right now?
I think
I got 2 hours, so I got 2:43 right now till it begins.
You probably should.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, Dorky. I'm gonna do it. Where's
also,
Odin? All right.
Mephisto is so good.
We're done.
Yeah, Mephisto is so good in the offense because you get to control what he does. So he does that basic attack and it's 50% full life off of somebody. So I like Mephisto more on the offensive side personally.
All right, I will be playing this tomorrow online, and hopefully we both do really well on this.
I will not, sir. I have Professor X. I am down to
That's true. You did mention that. Sorry. All right, maybe on season 15 you'll do really well because you have a few brackets. All right, this one has the global rules, and the global rules for season 15: offense, defense, Harbinger characters, successful hit. If the primary target has trauma, perform an ISO attack against that target. Not a huge one in my opinion. But you know War and Crucible more than I do. Is this more impactful than I'm giving it credit for?
Well, Songbird puts trauma out, and then Hitmonkey puts trauma out. I don't know if Sable does outside of raids. She might. Those teams are not going to be super protected from these Crucible rules. Like, there is a Thunderbolts room. I don't think it's that crazy.
Are they more for offense then?
They could be. I think they're actually more for defense for people that don't have these like legacy rosters where they have the older teams built up, or people that, you know, they've been around long enough. They actually had extra resources. They could bring teams like their Apocalypse or their Superior 6 to 105. I think that's for like the new breed. And that's what I love about the Vigilante team and the Thunderbolts team. It's like you should build them instead of building what people like me and you rely on for Crucible offense defense, because they're just a half step behind and they're better elsewhere, right?
Yeah. All right. As far as the rules, we already have stage 1 right now. We already talked about that. Let's go into stage 2 on offense, defense. All characters on turn. If character is taunt, gain offense up on turn. Apply assist now to all allies with offense up. I think Gladiator. I think Black Knight, but because I think of their taunts, I think offense ups will help with assist now, so someone that could give a lot of offense ups. Any thoughts on this room?
Yeah, I don't think you rely on people that have pre-taunts, so not like a Daredevil Modern or a Gladiator or Black Knight Room. Instead, you go to the offense up. So who gives offense up? We got Guardian gives offense up to his whole team. Sunspot would give offense up to mutants. So if there's like a Professor X, he would get the offense up there. Slayer gives it to Spear 6. So I would more lean into it like that. Mephisto gives offense up to all of his allies if he does his empowered attack, right? So I think it's more like that. But again, this was a sort of room that, just like the one above it, you kind of put something in here that they're really only going to get caught out if they take a really stupid team in there, or if they're doing too big a punch up. And then you have that offense up as kind of like a backup.
Gotcha. All right, this one. Special abilities cost 4 ability energy less. Successful hit or successful critical hit. Reduce target's ultimate ability energy by 1. Kahori came to my mind with this one. What are you thinking with this one?
Yeah, that was about it for me too. It's Kahori. The Kahori special is cool. Like Morgan Le Fay blinked in my head. She's too old. It doesn't matter anymore. That Terminator Rewind's not going to be a thing.
Yeah, I guess Cosmic Ghost Rider had a good special, but he's pretty old as well. So I'm like, who has a good special that's new?
Yeah. So I mean, it could be Professor X. So like Professor X.
If you have him, yeah, I'm sure everybody.
But if you have to face him, that's something to worry about. So like Professor X special removes.
I'll just take a loss. Take a loss.
Yeah, that's about what I do nowadays too. I mean, I could see some interesting things happen in this room with Kahori, which means that you'll probably see a lot of anti-speed bar on spawn things in this room, whether they be like Illuminati or that be Howard the Duck or Immortal X-Men to counter Kahori. So I don't think it's going to be super game breaking at all. Yeah, there's not much to go into this room, but this will still be the premium room, I think. Okay.
This one, Spore Attacks. Do damage that reduces max health of the target. Oh, we already talked about this. All right, before the Thunder. Stage 5, Thunderbolt characters, when this character is attacked, generate ability energy, 100% crit chance, 300% focus. Any thoughts on this? Nothing's popping in my head right now because I have not really used the Thunderbolts right now.
Yeah, so I've used the Thunderbolts a lot. Like the crit chance is cool. What I would say is like Ghost might catch people off guard. So if Ghost gets hit, she'll generate ability energy and then she get ult turn 1. So again, kind of like rooms 1 and 2. If somebody does something stupid in here and they hit Ghost, but they don't really kill her or give her a stun or an ability block or an offense down trauma, then she's gonna ult, and maybe that's gonna sap up a whole bunch of efficiency because it does percentage damage and it's really hard. The other Thunderbolt characters kind of start with their ultimates anyway. So it's kind of like like the crit chance is cool. So we can get extra damage, like someone like Songbird. She has
for second turn.
Yeah,
if they start with it, maybe it's for turn 2 or turn 3.
Yeah, it's not really gonna happen.
All right. Yeah. All right, the most exciting room for me is the one is your room, Dorky's broken headset. And answer me this: is this just named after you, or did you come up with this rules also?
They wanted to, and this would have been so much better. They wanted to name the last season's Stage 6 Dorky's Broken Headset, because that room was the bane of everyone's existence, right? So that one would have been. Did
that have something to do with Old Man Logan? Because I feel if they normally Dorky's Broken Headset, it should have something to do with the Old Man Logan.
Yeah, I guess it should. Eh?
What the f is Old Man Logan's kid? Holy f lost that one.
No, they approached me at the Envoy Summer. They're like, hey, like we kind of want to name your room this. And I thought it was a really funny, cool idea. But my son really wanted me to name it after Spider-Man. He was here when I won that tournament. So I let my son name that one. And then I said, okay, I'm going to win the next tournament.
The kids went out. All right. Yeah. But you got to choose this name and everything.
Yes, I won the next tournament. I'm the biggest winner. I'm the biggest winner.
I know sometimes they like limit our suggestions and things like that if you win. But all right. So since you chose this, what teams goes on defense and what beats that? Or is there something that doesn't beat on that? What are your entire thoughts on this room? What is your thought process behind choosing? No, just tough.
No. It's not actually not a big deal. I think this is compared to last season 6, last Crucible season, room 6. This is like a nothing burger. Like this will actually work against a couple characters. Like this is gonna not help Starjammers, Mephisto, Phoenix Force. It'll help a character like Odin kind of be on a more fair footing with other people. So in my opinion, it's kind of just like a nothing room, and that's this whole season to me. It feels like a bunch of nothing rooms, and it's kind of be an offensive heavy season, which I think on the heels of last season, which was kind of crazy with that stage 6 and that stage 4, I'm excited about, especially because, like I was saying earlier, like Professor X is kind of like a non-starter in the matchmaking right now if somebody knows how to use him properly on the defensive side. So I kind of want a season off of caring too much about Crucible until I can get my own Professor X unlocked, and then I'll go back at it. So for me personally, I like how these rooms, they seem pretty lax.
All right, and before we move on from the new rules, let's talk about war real quick. I'll just go through the global rules, and then if any rules rooms stand out, then mention them, because you are more into war than I am. All right, primary stats are attacking Quasar ally, not in the game yet. On basic, attacking Quasar ally, apply exposed to the primary target. 20% primary stats to defending Starjammer allies. 20% primary stats to attacking allies. And when using, so this is very similar to what we've had before, just they switched up a few teams, kept some teams the same. When using one of the following full defending teams, provide 30% primary stats, Annihilators, Astral, Starjammers, X-Men, so all X-Men, interesting, and then Infestation, and then primary stats for attacking characters, that's Avengers, Liberty, all Avengers, interesting. All right, and then Absolute A-Force, Vigilante, Thunderbolts. What are your thoughts on these global rules, and do any rooms stand out to you?
Nah, so I mean, Illuminati is no longer getting that defensive boost. I don't think that mattered very much anyway. Starjammers is. So Starjammers is interesting, right? Because they're going to be getting 50% total primary stats when they're on the defensive side, which is going to make them stat monsters if they're all together. Now, they're not super interesting theoretically, but just being that raw size, I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to play out. Because I did have a match today where I brought in the right team. I brought in A-Force, and I killed everybody except Landra, who had like 3 life left and an offense down. And then she still one-shot my entire team. Ooh. I was like, oh, that's fun. And people are going to have Landra geared to 20.
And so she's going to have bigger stats now. Bigger stats now.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, maybe that's actually going to be a trap for some people to walk into and get wrecked, which I think is interesting, right? I love Vigilante.
Hold on, before that, as a hardcore player, is that a good thing or a bad thing though? That the Starjammers and that Landra potential is that a good that could just blow you up?
Well, we're just gonna make sure we take better teams into it, right? Like I'm not gonna take A-Force into it next season whatsoever. I'll take teams that don't let them get a turn, or even like just a bigger team like an Undying or a Mercs if we can afford that. I'll just be much safer about it.
Gotcha. All right, and then the room that you're gonna mention.
Yeah, I'm super excited about Vigilante and Thunderbolt rules. They're going to be getting the 30% increased stats on the offensive side now. Offense. Yeah, I'm super excited about that because we're going to have them, obviously, people like me and you will have them at low star levels. I'm going to have Thunderbolts completely free to play. I cored for Songbird. I'm waiting for Victoria Hand to come out for free. And then Hyperion, hopefully I'll be able to core for the majority of his. I'm excited for that because for an alliance like mine, which is full of like a bunch of tryhards but not really big spenders, we rely on teams like Vigilante and Thunderbolts to kind of round out the rosters of my teammates that aren't really as veteran accounts as mine. Okay. So I have a lot of players that started maybe a year and a half ago, and because war is such a demanding roster check, right? So when these new teams come out and they are like spelt to be on offense and they give them offensive buffs, it super helps my guys have a more stress-free time with war. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, now Vigilante can do so much more than we ever thought they could. And now Thunderbolts can come in and they're kind of like the B tier killer god tier team. So it's like, okay, this is good for my guys. It's going to help make my captains have a less stressful time sort of organizing people. It's also going to give my players a team that they have to build for raids, a really good offensive weapon.
No, that's a good perspective. For I guess not new players, but mid time in the game, because I don't think they're mid game, but I think mid time, it helps them a lot. Yeah. All right. Other thing this week, we have the return of Battleworld. Once a month, we get Battleworld, get some Null shards. That week is this month. We have the Harbinger trait there now. Before, I think only on Zone 3 we had the Vigilante zone or something like that. Now we had Harbinger in all of the zones. What are your thoughts on this new and the difficulty of Battleworld now?
It feels like the same, right? I mean, they did change the Harbinger missions to be global Harbinger instead of I think it was City. We used to use Spider Society on the one in Zone 2, but now we use Vigilante. But now that they changed it to Global or Harbinger, we have access to like Apocalypse Orcus, and they beat everything. So I think they actually just made those Harbinger nodes easier, and the rest of it is still the same. Now, somebody brought something up interesting to me in chat today. They're like, I don't have Superior 6 build up. This would have been for Zone 2 for yesterday's conversation.
Yes.
Should I build them up? And it's like, no, you shouldn't. Because, like you said, we get this once a month. You get like 10,000 Battleworld currencies for any given node, for completing any given node, right? Or that's for the Harbinger, you get 4,000. I think the other node you get 10,000. Yeah. Is it really worth you building up? Like, it doesn't hurt your alliance if you don't do a Battleworld node, right? Because you only need, I think, 100 points to move on to the next zone, as long as you guys are killing Null that one time. Because there's no leaderboard. So it's like, should I build up a team to handle the city villain section in Battleworld? Absolutely not. Like, it's no, you shouldn't. So, I mean, that's just kind of the continuing missing of Battleworld. But here's the thing. I think that they've shelved any sort of progress in this version of Battleworld, and I hope that they are doing the work that needs to be done to make Battleworld 2, which they said comes out in September, a much more successful adventure.
Did they say they're already not updating this version of Battleworld and all their development time is going to the next one?
No, I mean, they didn't say that, and they are putting some development time into it, right? Because they added the Harbinger stuff.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
All right, other thing that happened this week is when it launched, we had our command center go live, but the flash event or the Harbinger week 2 was not there yet. I think they got it adjusted. So even if you did all your attacks in week 1 or on day 1, you still are able to get all this stuff. So yeah, just a little issue there. Now, what are you using? What are you gonna use for your attacks on Null? Let me go to my save squads here. I'll show you what. Obviously, you're using the Astral. This is what I'm using, and I just throw these teams in on offense. I think this is what we used a few Battle Worlds ago, and I never changed it. This is what I'm using right now. Are you updating your teams to attack Null? Because as long as your alliance kills Null once, I think it's very similar rewards. There may be some differences, but I think it's pretty similar. So I'm just throwing these guys in, autoing. Do you have some different Null attack teams?
Let me be brutally honest here. I put Astral in, I put it on offense, and I never look at Null again. The Null fight to me is a smothering exercise in futility. You can't rewind him. You can put slow on him, but he gets speed bar when you hit him. He gets 10 million barrier. He has a damage cap on him. Like, there's no way for me to make Null fun. It's simply throw Astral at it with their max health damage, and that's it. And I think Null was actually the biggest miss in Battleworld. We had the bleed team, which was somewhat interesting, and it was fast paced, right? Like, you hit the RNG markers to get as much bleeds up there. He took the bleed damage, then you died. And you would get some good points, but they took that away from us.
That was kind of fun to min-max that, even if it made no difference in that. Like, you could kind of brag about your score, right?
Yeah, exactly. So for me, like, the Null fight was a huge miss. Actually, a lot of these mini boss fights I'm finding are big misses. Like, I just did the Gladiator in the Professor X event, and it was just like Null. It was like, okay, he takes a billion turns. He keeps disrupt on himself the entire time. He can't be rewound. He has immunity the entire time. I just had to reset it and hit auto until he eventually died. And it's like, okay, like, go ahead.
Sorry. Go. I was kind of.
There's got to be, and we have so many ways, so many different mechanics in this game where we can make these boss fights interesting. We could have summons pop in that do certain things, interacting with the boss if you don't control them in a certain way fast enough. Like, there's so much stuff that we could do to really flip gameplay on its head when it comes to these mini bosses. I think that's kind of the biggest miss of Battle so far, and I'm really, really hopeful they fix that.
Oh, you answered my question. I didn't even ask it. I was going to ask you, what do you want to see change in the boss fight when Sentry comes? And you kind of already said that. So you read my mind, Dorky.
Well, let me give an example, because I do this all the time. Anytime I have this conversation, because I can just spit them out of nowhere. Let's say for Null, an Invincible Carnage joins the fight. This Invincible Carnage has 4 safeguard, death proof, and defense up, but he doesn't have immunity. And as long as he is not stunned, Null cannot be turn meter rewound. Okay, well, now I'll craft a team that can stun that Carnage as often as possible, and then I can start hitting Null with rewinds, and I could do stuff like that. So it's the simple sort of interactions like that that I don't feel are these huge coding exercises that I think you could put onto a boss node to just kind of increase some sort of strategy to go in there and make it more interesting. And I really hope that they start leaning to stuff like that.
You just mentioned one thing I'm like, gosh, this game is so lazy right now. Just put one interesting thing in there and change it up. You know, Battleworld comes once a month. They could put one interesting thing. Oh, we got another thing for the boss fight. I would like that because, you know, as long as you go in with the astral fight, like you said, you're getting the top rewards, right? If your alliance beats it. So the other two fights, let's have some fun with it. Let's go. Yeah, hopefully they do something like that for what is his name? What is Bob's name? Sentry and Void. Yeah. So hopefully they do something like that for Battleworld 2. So change it every week and yeah, I don't know. All right. New thing that we got. The Shadow King trials are back. Need Shadow King for Battleworld. What are your thoughts on this at this point? Why has this event not become permanent yet?
Again, I don't know. Maybe they're just putting the resources elsewhere. It feels like they already have the formula for that, though, don't they? Like, we have the Mephisto legendaries on a permanent basis. We have the Horseman legendaries on a permanent basis. I think Old Man Logan and Shadow King should definitely be in there now. I guess you would consider them the Professor X legendaries. So maybe in a month or two, they'll finally become permanent. But yeah, I think they should be there, especially because Old Man Logan and Shadow King feel like they are necessities, like you said, for Battleworld. Old Man Logan for mutant raids, as well as for unlocking Shadow King.
Yeah, and then Shadow King for Battleworld. Yeah, they all lead into each other.
Yeah, exactly. As far as difficulty goes, it gets easier and easier every single time, which is cool.
Do you still play it for these milestone rewards? I mean, there is some Crimson gear, so there's some top gear in there. It's not gear turn 19 stuff, but it is Crimson gear. Do you still play it for these rewards?
Yeah, I mean, it took me like 10 minutes to get in there and get it done. I think I ended up doing 6 nodes for it. It was basically all auto play. I just had my team set up and get in there, do it. I get that purple ISO and the ions at the bottom too, so I'm able to put ISO on a stupid character. Like I did Negasonic the other day because she had her health stats like leaked in her new stats were updated, leaked in game when the Taskmaster ones were as well. So I was like, I'm gonna do something stupid. Let's put some stuff into Negasonic and see if we could will this one into existence.
Nice. Well, yeah. So this should be. What I can't even remember what I was going to ask you about this. Oh, Captain Britain. I don't know when we're going to see Shadow King as a permanent. When are we seeing Captain Britain charge? I know a lot of people were asking on chat. I'm a couple shards short of Captain Britain. When is his event going to be back? Now, he's not a legendary character. He's an epic character, and those, I don't know, they're kind of holding those shards very close to their vest. When do you think we're going to see something on Captain Britain?
Tomorrow. I think we should.
I love it. Yeah. Yes.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, if you go back for a second, we had Juggernaut, right? And Black Knight, for all intents and purposes, he's an epic character. Like Black Knight was, right?
Yeah. He didn't have the tag, but he was.
Yeah, because he's just on that level. Black Knight was put into the free claims. So is Mr. Negative at the time. Juggernaut comes after Black Knight. Captain Britain should be put.
You're saying it's free. Free. I love it. Yes. Good.
That would be what makes sense. I mean, just do it. Like he's fallen off a cliff. Like he is soon going to become another Emma Frost, the OG, where it's a standing passive. Like he still has the stun trauma. He's still really good. The Illuminati team is still really good, but like they're approaching the end of their life cycle. They are now sort of a base builder for characters like Odin at this point. So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the recent team, the Thunderbolts. What value does the Thunderbolts have in the game right now? Taskmaster's here, Ghost is here, Victoria Hand is released if you paid, and then she's gonna be farmable tomorrow in the Intel store, and then Songbird's here. No Hyperion though. So as the 4-piece, does this team have any value in the raids right now, and any value outside of raids, Crucible and War?
I can't tell you from a first-hand experience, but I can tell you from people in my alliance, they are able to one-shot the first 2 nodes with the 4-piece and Super Scroll, oddly enough, even though Super Scroll kind of gets wrecked by the raid rules there. But yeah, so they're doing a good job in the raids already. Clearly, this is a raid team. You're going to want to build them up. So like you already have your Taskmaster ready. You have your Ghost 2 levels from being ready. This is a team that you should be building now. And if you want to use cores, you shouldn't do Songbird like I did. You should do the last character that comes out. So Hyperion is going to be the last character that comes out. You should core him because the other 2 are going to have their events, obviously, before he does. And so that's the method you should do for it. They're going to be good in raids as an offensive team on sort of that B+ tier level. And then for Crucible, again, like I was saying, this team is built for players that don't have those veteran accounts, where you can then shove them in on defense on that stage 5, where they're getting a little bit of rules, and with new stats, they're bound to catch some people off guard. So it's kind of just good for your roster's health to invest now.
Now, when you get Hyperion built up, he does take the same unique piece as Quasar, the quantum energy. Are you going to take that into account at all, or are you just going to max him out and then figure out what you're going to do with Quasar when you get him? Or are you not crunched on a resource? You have enough to do both and not even think about it.
I have not looked at it. I don't know.
Okay.
I will do Quasar before I do Hyperion, because I don't think Hyperion needs that gear tier 19 for him and his team to sim the raid nodes when they're all together.
Okay. Next question is about their diamonds. We got some diamond orbs for these characters, where if you don't get anything, there's some pity pulls that you get diamond for any of these characters. This lightning, what is it called? This, I don't know, the lightning bolt thing. Which character are you doing first? So let's say you get no diamonds for any of these characters, but you got a lot of lightning. Who needs the diamonds first?
Okay. I got 1 diamond on all these characters from the last leaderboard payout.
All right, who needs a second diamond first?
Yeah. So I would not buy a second diamond. I will hold out and see if we get them again. I don't who the heck got, what is it, 300 or 400 for the 3 diamond ones? It's 400. We must be having another event that's going to pay these out at some sort of decent number.
How much do I have? How much do I have? I have 0. I have 0.
Did you not open those orbs from the leaderboard payout?
I might not have been on the leaderboard.
Let's do it. Go to go there. No, you definitely were. Go orbs.
Where? Orbs?
Let's go to the bottom. Scroll down. Scroll down.
I don't think I've opened any of these.
You don't?
No, I don't have any.
What? Okay,
I don't have any.
I don't know.
I wasn't on the leaderboard. Was it a Crucible leaderboard?
No, it was the last event leaderboard. I don't know when the breakoff happened.
Oh, I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, well,
I don't know. I wasn't even paying attention to it.
All right, so, sorry, to answer your question, who I think is the best character on the team, I think Songbird is probably the best character on the team, followed very, very closely by Hyperion.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, and like I said, she's going to be farmable later this week, on actually today, May 15th, into Intel Store. And she was released, like, what, less than 2 weeks ago? I think the past Friday. So if it was Friday, it'd be 2 weeks. So a little less than 2 weeks ago. What do you think of the tunes going into the Intel Store? Seems like a lot faster than the old farming method for that, but it is Intel. And if you want to farm that, you're not getting gear tier 20 pieces. But the timing of it, I like the timing of that. What are your thoughts on the timing of this?
Yeah, I think this is where the Intel Store starts to become very interesting, right? I have 5 shards on her because I missed the Twitch drops, but I got the free claim on her.
Okay.
So I am actually sort of tempted to try and use Intel on her to try and get that team unlocked faster. Now, will I do it? No, because personally, I still just value Professor X more than anything else. I can get through the raids without her. She will eventually have a free-to-play release method, the same as Hidden Monkey had. But then the question becomes, like, Fallen Dimension, how they weren't available?
Yeah.
Is this the solution to that? Is getting the characters unlocked via the Intel Store the solution for future Fallen Dimensions? That becomes an interesting conversation. I don't know if we would like that conversation. I don't think many people would be happy about it, but that could be the case, right?
Let's talk about sorry.
Yeah,
there's a little delay. I'm not sure when you're done. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I'm also Canadian. I take my time. I like the fact that they're coming in early. I like that we have that agency. I don't think we get enough intel that if you care about Professor Xavier at all, to be burning 12,500 intel on 5 character shards. I think that gear tier 20 just outweighs it a lot still.
What if, that was, what if you have Professor X? You just go for the character shards, don't worry about gear tier 20?
It really depends on how much you like PvP modes. Like, if you like PvP modes, overpowered is the end-all be-all. It is actually the most important metric to check before taking matches in a lot. And I know that's not how it was designed to be, but 50% damage sure as heck makes it feel like that. So I personally would probably still be putting the higher value on gear tier 20 pieces. The exception would be when it's to get a character to round out a team. So if I had Professor X right now, I probably would be using my Intel and Victoria hand. And then I would
just to get the unlock and then go back to gear tier 20.
Exactly.
Or would you star her up?
No, I would never use the sword
just for the unlock, just until the unlock.
Okay. Yeah, like right now, I could buy a Silver Sable 5 shards and I can get my Silver Sable to 6-star right now. But why?
But
why?
It's only what, 12 and a half? 12,500 of that stuff in there.
Yeah. But you have 200,000. I have 70,000, right? Like I already am stressed about not being able to buy what I want from that store.
It's because, you know, some of these pieces I have a lot of, some I don't have a lot of, and I want to buy the ones I don't have a lot of, but they don't always pop up. So I'm like, I'll just wait. So
yeah. But there's gonna be a string of store resets when they all pop up for you, and then you're gonna have 0 intel. You're gonna be going, "Where is my intel?" It happens really fast.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Like I only have 200. I need 200,000. I need way more than this stuff. But all right, so let's get to the downside of this. These characters are going to be farmable. They're not going to the Battleworld store. We don't have any other resources that we're getting to farm these characters, and once that supply goes away, so it's either farming the new characters or. It's not an and, it's an or get the new geared pieces. What are your thoughts on that? Because that is a negative that's happening with this, and we get the characters earlier. So what are your thoughts on everything going into one store with one currency?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest question is what the heck's going to go on with Battleworld because of this, right? Like we all kind of assumed Liberty should have went in there. I think Liberty only came into this store because they want to put 3 tiers of teams.
Oh, you think the Battleworld store? Yeah.
Like the only reason Liberty went into the Intel store, in my opinion, is because they want to have 3 tiers of teams from the 3 most recent patches in the Intel store, but they kind of robbed from the Battleworld store to do that, in my opinion. I hope the Liberty team now moves into the Battleworld store, and then they move into wherever they're going to be permanently farmable, whether that be on campaign nodes or in the supply credit store, whatever that's going to be, right? There's a lot of questions here. I can't in my head ever justify buying 5 Patriot shards at 12,500 if Hitmonkey is also 12,500.
Yeah, if they're gonna cost the exact same, I'm just gonna get the newest character. I'm not gonna get the older character unless there's a huge discount. Yeah, do you think that in the future? Do you think they are gonna have discounts on these characters, or they're gonna be all the same if they're in that patch, or if they're in that chapter, I guess?
No, I think that they will eventually tier down some of the costs. I think just as a business practice, it's easier to give players more after the fact rather than to take away from players after the fact. So they set like the base level. They see where people are spending, where people are happy, where people are not happy about it. And then they can be like, okay, well, let's shave off 2,000 from all the teams that are after Vigilante. And let's shave off 2,000 all the teams after Star Dippers. They can do that after the fact, but if they started lower and then they tried to increase the price, we would all freak out, right?
So this is like a business negotiation. They're starting the negotiations high, and it's up to us to complain or not buy stuff, and then they'll get to the real numbers.
Yeah, that's the thing. If we don't buy, they will adjust. Unfortunately, a lot of people are buying the older character shards, I think, which is okay if you're a new account. And you don't
the market drives what happens, and I guess people are speaking with their intel. Like, all right, this is a good thing.
Oh yeah.
All right. As far as good things, I think we did get one good thing because we are getting a lot more intel. They just launched this global milestones. I like that they just launched global milestones randomly. Like, oh, more stuff, because if they announced it didn't work, like, not good. But we're getting this stuff. It wasn't announced, just free stuff. All this intel. I love this. What are your thoughts on these global milestones?
I really like the global milestones. The problem is, if you are a super involved player, you were probably a little bit stressed at the Quasar weekly objective. Quasar weekly objective is asking people to collect 300,000 intel or on the week, or spend 300,000 intel. Now for you, it's really easy, but for me, because you can now collect another 100,000, right? I got those. Yeah,
I was saving these. I didn't want to spend it during week or collect it during week 1.
So that's my point. I don't feel like it is right for people to have access to their intel, but then feel like I can't spend it when what I want pops up in the store because I need to make sure I can spend 300,000 for this. So if you got really lucky on your intel store, not even really lucky, just like marginally lucky on your intel store, and you spent all your intel, this week you were like fairly close to possibly not hitting that 300,000 for the weekly objective, being able to spend 300,000. And then this global event came out of nowhere, and it made sure that there was a nice cushion for people to earn from the 7th day that weekly Quasar thing started to earn 300,000. And that's great. I would rather it be public knowledge that this this global event is coming on this date. But if you do want to make it a surprise, and I think there's a lot of value in having these flash global events as surprises, if you want them to be truly celebrated, make sure that it's bonus on top of people being secure in getting whatever your metrics are setting for other command center events.
You think this was factored? You think this was factored into the milestones? Because in my head, I didn't hear about it, so I was like, oh, this is bonus.
Well, because you hoarded, or because you weren't being forced, or you weren't given the option to buy what you wanted from the Intel store, right? So you had a float going into this week. People who didn't have a float didn't have access to 300,000 Intel to spend for that Quasar command center until this happened. So for the feeling that you had, I want that to be everybody's feeling. But that'll only happen if we're getting at least a little bit more Intel to make sure we're hitting that 300,000 metric that they set in the command center on the Quasar event more readily, or at least more visibly.
Makes sense. I see what you're saying there. Yeah. I guess there's some benefit in being a little more casual, because I'm not buying everything. I'm not refreshing stores and things like that. So I do have some more resources. But as far as this command center, other than like the timing of these intels, what is your experience with this command center? Enjoy it, not enjoy it? Do you like the old milestones better? You like this better? What are your thoughts on how this is right now?
So change is always rough, in my opinion, right? change always seems to be a little bit rough.
Yeah.
I think that I'm uncomfortable with this store right now because it's still new, but I was also uncomfortable with the filter that we use when we're like doing our save squads and stuff like that. I didn't like that at first either. I love it now. I love it. It saves me so much time. It's great. It's an easy way to organize a roster and try and build the team I'm trying to build, right? I think I think they pull the ripcord. You get rid of the milestone tab.
This whole thing,
put that in the command center.
I cannot wait for everything to move here. Yeah,
exactly.
I like this, the command center. I don't like these milestones anymore because it's just 2 places to click instead of 1.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that whatever showcase campaigns are happening, whatever milestone events are happening, it all needs to be in one place. It needs to be, if they push the command center, I'm here for it. It looks a lot prettier than what we've had before. Put everything in the command center. Let me have one hub I need to go to like guide me on what I'm trying to do in Marvel Strike Force.
I want to take it a step further, Dorky. Get rid of the milestone tab and the event tab. Put everything in the command center, because this I don't like having to click an event tab for some of the to get rid of some of the red dots, and then go back to the campaign to get rid of some of the red dots that are in the event tab. It's just so stupid, I think. So if we could get all these energies, organize these. I mean, these showcase ones aren't even pop up there, so I missed these a lot. They top off a lot. I mean,
yeah, that's
120. It's always on 120. So I'm always trying to manage these energies and having to click back and forth between these. So I would say get rid of the milestone tab, put it in the command center. Get rid of the events, put it in command center, and they just organize all these campaigns a lot better. So I don't have to, if I want to spend my energy, I don't have to go all the way to the end. An incursion, spend this. So I'd like this. I wanted to go further with it. Don't give us these half measures. Just put everything in there right now.
Yeah, I understand. They're trying to slow roll it so people still can use what they normally expect, and they're not feeling overwhelmed. Overwhelm people for like a few days until we figure out the command center. Like, let's get it done. Rip the Band-Aid off, as they say. Yeah,
I mean, people don't like change, but eventually, when it's not a change, when it's just the standard, then they like it. So yeah, the sooner it's the standard instead of these little half measures, the better it's going to be.
Yeah,
just rip the Band-Aid off. Rip it off right now. All right, and that is it. I think we've covered everything of the past week and what's upcoming. Any other final thoughts on Marvel Strike Force, brother?
No, like at the beginning of the video, man, I'm really excited for Danger Room. I like what they're doing with the negative zone or the fallen dimension. I think they just need to strike the balance to make sure that people are aware they're coming and what to expect from it. I think that I'll probably need to make a video on how to resource management a little bit better so you can level 105 all your characters going forward. I like the harder content they're doing. I like that they're experimenting with more interesting things. I like that a lot of their people aren't really catching on to this. They're going hard on PvE right now, right? We see the little tweaks to Battleworld. So not much with Battleworld, because that's kind of like it's a dead end.
That was their attempt last year for add more PvE. It didn't go well, so now they're trying to fix that.
Yeah, so we've seen a bunch of different pocket dimensions which all have new nodes.
Yeah.
Right? They're not recycling nodes as much as they used to. We've had Temporal Cataclysm, then we had the Professor X one, which I know a lot of people feel about that. The Gear 20, I'm with you on that. That's kind of sick. And now we have roguelite coming, which is really cool. And I think we had a Sword of Satellite not too long ago and a Kiln Tower not long after that.
So it seemed like we had something every week. Something going on.
So it feels like they're ramping up that PvE treadmill, which I'm really excited for, and I'm really enjoying that. And I hope they continue doing that.
Yeah, I like the overall direction of this game. There are some things like overpowered and a few details that I don't like. You know, locking content behind like paywalls, like not just pay to win. That's like all games, but pay to play is not a good thing. But a lot of the other things I do enjoy. So there's some positives and some negatives in my opinion right now, but that is it. Hopefully you guys got some value from this video. And if you did, leave the video a like, check me out on social media. Make sure you check out DorkyDad. I get all my Twitch drops because Dorky's always on. I just like have a browser watching Dorky all the time until I get my Twitch drops. So make sure you go to his Twitch stream. He is probably the most consistent streamer that's out there. So go watch him. I'm on there sometimes. Mobile's on there sometimes, but Dorky's always on there. So make sure you go check him out. Videos as well. Lots of guys. I follow his guides, so hopefully you guys do as well. And if you want to see what are the 10 best teams in Marvel Strike Force, check out the video that I did up there. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Are you ready for a fist bump, brother Dorky?
Best part of my week, man. Let's get it.
Yes. All right. On fist bump, ValleyFlyin, DorkyDad out. Have a great one, guys.